up guys, David122 and it's Top Tuesday! As you may have noticed, we are not doing the top 10 cards in the main series of the games for this week, and we're probably not going to do it for another 2 or 3 weeks. I'm giving myself a break so I don't get burned out, because these sets release so slow that I'm pretty sure I could do these once a month and they would never get away from me. So, you know, I got through all the Dual Monster Zero without a hitch, so we're gonna wait for GX for a few weeks so I can get back into the energy of things. Also, maybe the weather will start cooling down, even though it'll be August, so probably not. Because I'm taking a break from the top 10 cards in every set, it's actually a great time if you guys have any suggestions of what you would like me to do for Top Tuesdays, then this would be the time to do it. You can always join my Discord, and we have discussions like every Monday and Tuesday for what I want to talk about on Top Tuesdays. And if you guys sign up for the Patreon, then you guys can pretty much tell me what to do, and I gotta do it, because you guys give me money. It's like a stripper or something. But today's topic was actually proposed to me by my friend Dave, the owner over at Card Quest here in Queens, my locals, because he was looking to expand the store and kind of figure out what it is that the player base likes in a local environment. So basically I went on my Discord and I polled you guys talked to me, and we came up with a list of 5 to 10 things that I want to do, and I whittled it down into a top 5 things. And this top 5 things are the top 5 things a player base would like to see at a locals card shop store thing. So without further ado, let's get started. Rules for this list, it's not going to be like, exists is number 5, that's ridiculous, because I know some places don't have locals, so that's kind of like, that would be a really nice thing, but we're just going to assume you have access to it, and if you want to give them some advice to make them better, then this is what you would say, because you can't say, please exist, because who are you talking to? Come on, be an entrepreneur, open your own card shop if that's the problem. God, I would love to do that. So, number 5. Number 5 would be atmosphere, because this could take up 5 slots in and of itself from the different aspects of what that could possibly mean. So I lumped them all together because, you know, if any one of these things doesn't exist, then it's kind of a crappy atmosphere. When you're talking about the atmosphere of your local card store, you would think about things like the staff being really nice to you, the AC working, the player base isn't super stinky, and overall it's just a wonderful place to be and blow a Saturday or Sunday. Obviously, the smelly Yu-Gi-Oh stereotype certainly stands true in a lot of cases, but if you guys can help it, you guys can actually just take showers, and you could make everybody's day better. Not only that, but you know, having the proper environmental controls is really great, because part of the reason why people stink is because they sweat. And if they didn't come in stinky, but you don't have AC in the middle of summer, they're gonna leave stinky. So that's always good. And if you're in like a part of the world where you don't really need AC, that means you probably need heat. So that's also just as good. Plus you could also lump in maybe space, because I've been to some pretty small card stores where you really couldn't hold a tournament or something because there's like one table. So having a nice area to play as well would be kind of, you know, and not being so claustrophobic would also help this. And on that point, number 4 is tournaments. Preferably OTS tournaments, but just holding tournaments in general would be great. Yes, the way to draw players to your store and actually get them to stick around for any period of time is to actually host events at your store. And if you got your good old OTS license thingy from Konami, that means you can give out prize things like the OTS packs, and you can give those weird Exodia pieces when they buy a bunch of stuff, and all the other fun crap that you get for being an officially licensed Konami vendor. Also, we get our Konami points on our Kasi cards, which I don't remember what those actually do. I think they're for nationals? I don't know. I don't really care. I never have enough. But having actual tournaments at your store is a great way to get people into the store, get them to stick around, and then for them to buy product, because, oh, I'm going to compete in a tournament today, I better have my playset of Ash Blossoms, because I don't really need those to play in the backyard with my buddies, because it's casual. Who cares? Plus, tournaments are just fun. And number 3 kind of goes along with number 4, and that is to have a varied player base. Now you're going to say this one's a little weird, and what could that possibly mean, to have a varied player base? I mean having a nice heterogeneous mixture of casual and competitive players and everything in between at your tournaments. When one goes to a regional event, or even a YCS to a slightly lesser degree, and then Nats even less so, you come across a menagerie of different people, especially in the early rounds, playing rogue or meta or jank or weird or whatever. Having experience playing against various different decks at a tournament environment at your locals is the way to properly practice for major events if you're looking to be a more competitive player. Sure, if you had to take a pick, you'd probably want your locals to be full of nothing but meta players, because those are the ones you're probably going to have the most trouble with, so that kind of practice is more valuable, but playing against a peppering of rogue players here and there does get you to think outside the box, improves your technical play, and kind of learn varied strategies that maybe you would actually like to adopt in your deck. Basically, the more different types of decks you play against, the better the kind of player you are, so having a varied player base at your store is going to help the players who are there to actually win. Now, you can't just stick a rogue player's wanted sign in your window and hoping to change up the kind of people that come to your store. That's kind of funny if you did that, but that's not going to get them in your store. No, probably the best way to do this is maybe have varied formats or, I don't know, crazy, silly events or things like that. It gets people in the store who wouldn't normally go because maybe rogue players don't want to go to an OTS tournament and maybe the competitive players don't want to go to your non-OTS tournament. So having different offerings, maybe on different days, is a good way to get different people to come into the store at least the first time, and then maybe they'll come in for the other events the other time. Number 2 is going to be a little counterintuitive and it's not going to make much sense, but varied support for other card games and just different things in general, like board games or the Dragon Ball Super game or Magic or Pokemans. Card Fight Vanguard, I guess. Now you're going to say, what does that benefit us as Yu-Gi-Oh players? Well, I don't know, you want to make some friends for once? Or just be lonely and stinky? No. Having varied other types of things at your store, whether it's a tabletop get-together playing Warhammer or Dungeons & Dragons, or people coming in and playing random board games or selling random board games, or having Magic tournaments on a Tuesday but Yu-Gi-Oh on a Thursday. It doesn't matter. Having a varied type of stuff at your store is going to bring different people into the store, and hey, you never know, one of those weirdos might actually change teams and play something else for a while, and you're going to actually start getting other people into other stuff. And I think that's important because, you know, a couple of videos I get people are like, why are you wearing a Pokemon shirt in a Yu-Gi-Oh video? That's blasphemy. And all I can think about is, what? Why? I can like Pokemon and I can like Yu-Gi-Oh. I can like both. Frankly, it'd be weird if I didn't like both because I grew up in the 90s and early 2000s. So those two things were big then. I was exposed to them when I was young and in middle school. So it'd be strange if I just was a weird kid who didn't play one or the other back in the day. Plus, I don't know, I like different stuff. It's not a crime. This isn't like a Star Trek versus Star Wars argument, which is another thing I don't get. Again, I like them both. They're completely different, frankly. It's disparate arguments. But I'm getting way off track. This is such a tangent option for me on here, but I think it's an important one. Having varied stuff at your store gets more people in there. You get a wider pool of people. Like, for instance, if I started talking about Magic the Gathering on this channel, I'd probably get a bunch more subscribers because, you know, you got all the people that only play Magic and the people that only play Yu-Gi-Oh, and now they get a little bit of both. Maybe the people who play both. Hey, Marty. And number 1, the most important thing for any card store to have is chicks. That was a joke. That was a joke. Even if that was only half a joke, and it'd be really cool if my locals had more chicks, it's never gonna happen. So, the real number 1 is product. More Yu-Gi card. More cardboard. Marty. Basically, you're being a bad kitty bumping the camera. Alright, you gotta go play with Parker. She's making noise. This is Parker. She's a kitten. And she's naughty. Ah, yes. Having cardboard at your card store is important because when people come in for your tournaments, it'd be really cool if you had options in order to buy stuff so that... Marty! Where the hell was I talking about? Yeah, basically when you get into a tournament and you need a card, you forgot you didn't have something in your deck and you were proxying something or something like that, it'd be cool to go up to the counter and saying, hey, I need X, Y, and Z, and your card shop dude who's running the counter just pulls out a binder and slaps them down and gives you a price. That's what you want. Something that they actually do over at CardQuest, which I really, really like, is Dave has like literally like every set of the game in these like box tube things labeled, and they're all like in some semblance of order in little groups inside the boxes. So if you're like, hey, I need this random common from this random set, you just pull it out and thumb through it and pull it out. It's actually really impressive. It's some serious backstock. That bit of OCD organization might be a little much to ask for certain card stores that don't have the staff to sit there for 10 hours and go through boxes of commons, but having that kind of thing at your disposal certainly helps. It's just absolutely wonderful, especially if I don't want to go on, eBay or Amazon and wait a week to get my cards. I can just go to CarQuest and say, hey, Dave, you got any Curazes? And he's like, you bet Curaz I do. The weird thing is that actually is a completely realistic conversation I would have with him. That's what you get when you film after work. Woo! But anyway, guys, that was my list. I hope it helped out any of you card shop owners out there, and if it didn't, because you're doing all this already, work on the chick thing. I think that's gonna be your breakaway thing right there. Get some chicks in there. Just don't pay them to be there. Guys, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Remember, guys, if you don't troll the meta, who will? I will see you guys next time.
Remember to subscribe so that you don't miss any of my totally rad dueling. Watching more of these videos is almost as fine as Taya's ass? What? I'm not saying that. Fine. Then it's time to duel.